It's the Orioles on Masson, and we welcome you back. The folks have hung on almost 2.5 hours since the game was supposed to start. The Twins and the Orioles opening up a 4-game set. This young man expressing all of our feelings here in the booth. Let him know it, fella. Let him know it. Come on. Let's play ball. Let's play ball. He's got more energy than any of us at this point tonight. Welcome back, everybody. So the rain has moved out, hopefully, for the remainder of the night, and we are ready to play some baseball with a 4-game stand here. The Orioles and Twins have met once this time, and that was a Twins sweep of a 3-game set played in Minnesota. The games in the Twin Cities, these are the numbers. Batting average, you can see well above the Orioles, where the Twins outscored 17-8 were the O's. The Orioles out-homered by 1.65 in the ERA. Obviously, that's got to change here in this 4-game set. Way up there for the Orioles. Mike Bordick, though, finally looks like we'll get this one started, and game number 4 of the year for these two teams.
Yeah, the Orioles are certainly anticipating, this series against the Twins because they're catching them at the right time, much like the Twins caught the Orioles at a bad time at the beginning of July when they swept them there in Minnesota. So the Orioles playing great baseball. It's a confident team. Their numbers are up. They're scoring like 7 runs a game here on this homestand. They've had 3 walk-off wins, so these guys are feeling good. They don't feel like they can be beat. Even the loss, they came back and they had an opportunity to win that game. Twins have been reeling a little bit since the All-Star break. Their pitching has not been there. Their offense is plenty good enough. Brian Dozier, second baseman, has 25 home runs, so there's some thump there, and they'll put some pressure on. But I don't think they have enough pitching, and I don't think their confidence is there right now. The Orioles are smelling the postseason for sure.
Yep. And we'll see Duffy, a young pitcher, is going to make only his 3rd start. He really got hammered in Toronto, then came back with an outstanding effort against Cleveland. There he is, young man trying to earn his spot in this rotation. Orioles take the field. We're going to play some baseball tonight when we come back. This will be the opening pitch of the ball game, so these starters get to warm up as they normally would for a game. Twins and O's next. Book your low fare now at Southwest.com and by Coons.com. When you're talking cars, you're talking Coons. Take a look at our BGE Home game time temperature. It is 74 degrees. BGE Home, Baltimore's home team for heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical. Why would you call anyone else? That humidity's still up there at 95%. Starting lineup for the Twins. Buxton just called up. Dozier, Mauer, Sano, another one of their youngsters. Plouffe, Rosario, Hunter, Suzuki, and Escobar. For Trevor Plouffe, last 4 games, their hottest bat.
And let's take a look at Miguel Gonzalez's pitch arsenal this season. The fastball 59% of the time. Breaking ball has a slider curve. And the change 14% of the time it is the split finger. Now Miguel has had some problems with command here recently, but his last start was outstanding, 7 strong innings. So he's looking to pick up his 10th win on the season, lower that earned run average. It stands at 4.42 right now. 97 punch outs, 41 walks for Miguel, holding opponents to a 261 batting average. Is a fly ball pitcher, 59% of the outs in the air. That leads some homers, 22 long balls given up by Miguel Gonzalez this year. Good news, 14 of them have been solo shots, but they have plagued him early in ball games. He wants to get off to a good start here, really set the tone for this 4-game set.
In the home run department, the home runs surrendered, the 22 are 6 high starting the day in the American League. So a long wait for these two ball clubs, and a game scheduled to start at 7:05. It'll be, looks like, just a little over 2.5 hours. Paul Molitor's ball club swept by the Yankees, so they come in with a 3-game losing streak. Ball games in which they had a lead in all of them. Buck Showalter's team with that impressive 5-1 mark so far here in this homestand. Orioles started the day 5 games behind the Yankees. Minnesota's only chance postseason wild card. They're 4 games out of a spot, and we are underway. Buxton going after it, and a pitch that was up in the strike zone. This is the youngster added to the roster, returned from AAA, started the season AA Chattanooga, got injured, got sent back down, and now has been recalled because of other injuries on this team. So Brian Buxton will get a start in center field in this game.
And they're pretty excited about this opportunity for Buxton. Now they had Aaron Hicks out in center field who pulled a hamstring, so giving Buxton another shot here, and he is a toolsy athlete. Great speed, strong arm out there. You're going to see him cover some ground offensively. Had struggled here with his opportunities in the big leagues, but minor leagues has put up some big numbers. So for him to settle in at the major league level and contribute a little bit offensively.
1-2 delivery will be chopped down to third base. Manny Machado on the hop makes the throw. Buxton is retired on the ground ball out.
Nice play by Manny. Lead us right into the Orioles defense. Urrutia, Jones, and Parra in the outfield. Hardy and Scope up the middle. Machado and Davis once again on the corners. And Matt Wieters will do the catching tonight.
That'll bring Dozier up. He has been their prime offensive player in terms of overall output. He comes in with a 244 average, 25 home runs. He is second in runs scored in the league and third in doubles. And against the Orioles this season, as he has always been a real problem. Down to third, Manny Machado night begins with a couple of ground ball outs. 2 down here in the first inning.
And he's ready after the long rain delay, which is a good sign. Typically position players kind of used to this. It's the starting pitchers that it really disrupts a routine. Sitting around for a couple hours, you can feel your anticipation build for a game, and then all of a sudden the 2-hour rain delay kind of shuts things down. So Miguel having to regroup the troops a little bit.
Wants to get out of a first inning in which he has given up 11 runs this season in the first. Takes on the Twins for the first time this year. And here's Joe Mauer. Mauer will take the pitch for a strike. Mauer has faced Gonzalez 4 times, 0 for 4 against him. The veteran, former catcher, now largely at first base for the Twins, but still with some good power. Infield shifts a little bit, but not all the way around. Mauer takes it up high. For Gonzalez against Minnesota, career record of 1-1. He's had 2 former starts against them with a 3.09 ERA. Last faced them last year, last August. Here at Camden Yards was his last outing against the Twins. Mauer will go the other way down the line. It is curving. It is a foul ball, and it just missed. Urrutia wasn't sure, even though he was standing out there, whether that was fair or foul. It was that close to the white line.
Yeah, I got to play it until you hear a call. Mauer now veteran hitter. Been around the block, great track record, a lot of success. As you see Urrutia picking that one up. But you see the Orioles defense. You talk about respect, playing him pretty much straight up. This guy can use the whole field. Make mistakes on the inner third, he'll pull you. Pitch him away, he'll slap you the other way. And he does have power, can drive it in the gaps. 8 home runs this year.
So Mauer comes back with a 1-ball, 2-strike count. He's played a lot this year, 119 of the 121 games that they have played so far. Joe Mauer has been involved in. They were concerned about that coming into the year as to how his health would hold up in terms of games played. 1-2 delivery, and that one is going to bounce. Mauer, of course, with a lot of opportunities against the Orioles, and he's taken full advantage of it. He's got a .341 career average against the Orioles with 6 home runs. 2 of them have been hit in this ballpark. Wide stance, that back foot all the way back in the batter's box. 2 ball, 2 strike, and that'll be fouled back over the screen.
Well, good hitters, you talk about that wide stance. A big key to hitting. Obviously, you hear about rhythm and timing, but it's balance. And some hitters find their balance with their stance. If they start with their feet too close, sometimes they can get out of balance, falling too far forward. Mauer, a great hitter his whole career. You see that wide stance. Really keep that base underneath him. Controls that front side well, covers the whole plate.
2-2, good jam shot right there to center field. Adam Jones is under it. He's got it, and a real good start. So Gonzalez, after the long delay, retires the side in order. The Orioles lineup coming up. One minute rain delay before we get this one started. Let's take a look at the Orioles lineup, brought to you by Southwest. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Machado, Power, Jones, Davis, Wieters, and Scope, Clevenger, Hardy, Herudia, and for Chris Davis, that's the All-Star break. Yahoo!
Let's take a look at Tyler Duffy's pitch arsenal. This will be his 3rd major league start. 59% fastball, speed of fastball, 90 to 93 miles an hour. Breaking ball, it's a good curveball, and the change 11% of the time. Earned run average at .675. A tale of 2 starts for Duffy. Got roughed up by Toronto, lasting only 2 innings, but then threw a 1-hit 6-inning shutout against Cleveland in his 2nd start. See 50-50 on the ground ball fly ball percentage, and opponent's average at .214.
Out of Texas, Bel Air, and his delivery will be taken for a strike. Manny Machado. Manny at the even 300 mark. He is 7th in runs, 5th in hits in the American League. Has a 4-game hit streak coming into this ball game. 0-1 delivery will be taken away. Take a look at our American Standard. Who's hot, who's not?
Well, Manny Machado definitely hot. Seems like all year, but last 4 games getting steaming hot. .438, 3 RBIs for Manny Machado.
And you can celebrate the season with the American Standard All-Star event. Visit MidAtlanticComfort.com for amazing rebate and financing opportunities. Duffy, just 24 years old. Clubs have hit only .214 against him, but only 2 starts. Ground ball is going to go slowly to Escobar. He gets the put out.
We'll take a look at the Twins defense. Rosario and Buxton, 2 young outfielders. Join Torrey Hunter, great right fielder, 15+ years in the major leagues. Escobar and Dozier will be up the middle. Plouffe and Mauer on the corners, and Suzuki behind the plate.
First out recorded. That'll bring Power to the plate. Power comes in with a 6-game hit streak. Hot bat for the Orioles, up to 321. And the Orioles mighty happy with the numbers he's put up. Pitch to him will be the off-speed delivery. The thing to watch for with Duffy tonight, the problem he's had in his young career is locating the fastball. He's thrown only about 50% strikes with his fastball. So Neil Allen, pitching coach, really working on that. And while they're doing that, he's using the curveball a lot. That'll go to short. Escobar up. So you're liable to see a lot of curveballs and changeups thrown in this game, depending on whether Duffy feels confident in his fastball.
Yeah, well, if he can't find the location with the heater, you better mix up those secondary pitches. But you got to prove you can throw those for strikes as well. Yeah, he had a lot of success in the minor leagues. Actually, only gave up 1 home run in his work in the minor leagues. Of course, his first big league start gave up 2 long balls. Blue Jays offense.
Tough place to start your major league career in Toronto this year, isn't it?
You got that right.
Oh, wow. Man. Talk about being thrown into the fire. Here is Adam Jones. Adam's got a hot bat going. 2 down and nobody on. Duffy's delivery to him will miss outside for a ball for Adam.
Oh, this homestand, 375, 4 home runs, 8 RBI, heating back up at just the right time.
1-0 count on him. Duffy's delivery will be fouled back the other way on a big swing, and the count's at 1-1. Orioles getting a lot of offensive production, as we've showed you here in this homestand, and with 4 games against the Minnesota team that has struggled with their pitching. The Orioles certainly hope they're going to be able to keep that going. 1-1 delivery on the way. There's a great jam shot. Good location. Foul tipped into the mitt. 1-2.
Well, he does have a good 2-seamer. Gets a lot of ground ball contact with that pitch, and you saw that late life there as it dove underneath the hands. Adam Jones.
The Orioles have not seen Duffy before, so a time around will help. Off the end of the bat again to short. Short and third. Apparently the only players involved defensively in this game for either team. And 1, 2, 3 innings for each of the starting pitchers. Gonzalez back to work.
Well, most wins through the first 4 major league seasons since 1980 for the Orioles. And you talk about consistency. Take a look at this list of names. Yusina, Davis, Chen, Cabrera, and there's Miguel Gonzalez. 39 wins from 2012 2015. Had 9 wins and 11 and 10 last year. 9 wins this year. Miguel Gonzalez, an unsung hero for this team. Of course, you realize that those years were successful years for the Orioles.
Yep.
2 playoff appearances. 500 the one year they didn't make it.
Shift put on. Sano will take the pitch for a strike. Another one of their young players. He's the DH. He did damage against the Orioles in the Twin Cities. Sano went 4 for 7 with a home run and 3 RBIs in those 3 wins by the Twins. He's got power, speed, real good player who will be around this ball club they hope for a long time as a core player.
Boy, they are excited about some of these young players they have on this field tonight. Sano, of course, Rosario, the left fielder, Buxton, the center fielder.
0-2 delivery to him. He's probably going to be their third baseman of the future.
Yeah, I think so. Even though Plouffe's having a great year, leading the team in RBIs. But bring up these young talents, you got to find a spot for them. Of course, save a little money as well.
Yeah. 1 ball, 2 strike count on him. Plouffe and then Rosario will be due up. Gonzalez's pitch up high. For Miguel, 0-2 in his last 4. ERA has been 6.6 in those games. He's given up 15 runs in the last 20 innings pitched. His last win came against Tampa Bay on July 25. Pitch will be taken outside for a ball. Miguel has had the numbers go up after the All-Star break, as the opponent batting average has gone from 248 before the All-Star break up to 298 after. Ball put up in the air and back, and that will be foul, and the full count at 3-2.
Well, I think everybody's kind of hoping that Miguel's last start, you take a look at his numbers here before the break, 16 games, 7-6 with a 4.24, and then since the break, 2-2 with a 4.91, so a little bit of a jump there in earned run average. Overall, his earned run average is about a run higher than last season. So yeah, this has been a tough year for Miguel, but in his last start, kind of labored through the ball game, got himself into a big time jam where he walked 3 hitters in a row to load the bases, but then got out of the jam in the 5th inning, ended up settling in, retiring the next 6 batters in a row. So, you know, I think that was a hurdle that Miguel needed to overcome. He did it. His confidence is high right now. That was a sensational start for him. Hopefully he settles in and kind of gets on a roll here in the last 6 weeks of the season.
That'll bring Plouffe to the plate, their third baseman. 3 for 10 against the Orioles on the year. And will take the pitch for a strike in the outside corner. Very little running done against Gonzalez. 2 for 3 in stolen bases. Plouffe taking a long look down to third to see whether or not hit and run, steal might be on here. 0-1 the count. Very short lead at first base. And that pitch is going to be in there for a strike. Sano was so close. If he took a step, he'd be in the foul territory side of the bag over there at first base. He wasn't going anywhere. So no intent to steal, at least not on the first couple of pitches. 0-2 count. Infield, double play depth with nobody out. Hit the other way. That's where they weren't. He'll make the turn. Parra up with it cleanly. So here in the second inning, first 2 are on. A walk, and Plouffe delivers a base hit. 2 on, nobody out. Get ready to show your orange head to toe tomorrow. First 20,000 fans 15 and over at the 7:05 game against these Twins are going to get a pair of the Orioles high socks. Fashion statement, and you'll love it. Tickets are on sale at Orioles.com or 888-848-BIRD. That'll bring Rosario to the plate. Eddie Rosario, another Minnesota Twin who did some damage against the Orioles. A couple of RBIs in the series in Minnesota. He went 2 for 12. Nobody out and 2 on. Bunting, a beauty. That's a base hit. Manny Machado pockets it. Bases are loaded on a perfect bunt on the grass that, even though the field was covered, has got to be a little bit heavy with the dew and the humidity.
Yeah, you would think so, but that ball is placed perfectly down that third base line, and it has to be perfect. You're going to bunt on Manny Machado. Rosario, a lot of weapons. Saw the bunt, but has the power. Drive the ball in the gaps as well. Look at him lay that ball down. Of course, the lefty gets a little quicker out of the box. Manny, nice decision eating that baseball there.
So the bases are loaded for Torrey Hunter, the veteran who is struggling at the plate right now. Gets a chance. The infield will give up the run if they can get the ground ball and the double play. So the infield back to play for 2. And Gonzalez, an important early moment in this game. Hunter will step out. For Hunter this season with the Sox full, he's gone 5 for 9. 3 doubles with the bases loaded and 12 RBIs in these situations. He will take the pitch. That'll be a strike in the inside corner.
You see that career numbers now, 16th year. An impressive number there, 325 with the 10 grand slams. In a little bit of a dip right now, but still a very dangerous hitter. Knows what to do in these type of situations.
0-1 delivery on the way. That would be fouled away. For Hunter, this has been a ballpark he's liked to hit in. At least the numbers indicate that. A career .311 batting average here with 14 home runs. 14 out of the 22 home runs he's hit against the Orioles in his career have come here at Camden Yards. The Orioles outfield straight away on him in a big at bat here in the second inning. Here's the 0-2 delivery on the way. That's way up high. Matt Wieters stepping up to get a hold of that one.
We talked about struggles with the Orioles starters, but one thing they have done here recently is minimize the damage. They've done a great job, and they might give up a run, but they're avoiding the big inning, not letting things get out of control.
1-2 delivery in the dirt. Hunter has had just one hit in his last 26 at bats. His average has dropped from 249 to 235 over that 8-game span. 1 for 26. He hasn't gone through a lot of spells any worse than that in his career.
No.
So Gonzalez would like to take advantage of that right here. 2 ball, 2 strike count. Sacks are full. Hunter will take, and that misses. So the count goes full. Tough pitch to take right there, and it's 3-2. 3-2, nobody out. There are the base runners. Sano, Plouffe, and Rosario. Gonzalez with the full count delivery, and Hunter a ground ball fouled off, and we will do it again.
The 2-seam fastball right there. Nice late movement. Boring in on the hands of Hunter. Really, that's been a key for Miguel Gonzalez. Lack of fastball command has gotten him into some problems. Falling behind, driving it in there. 3-2 count. Quality pitch. But Hunter keeping it alive.
Talk about bringing some tension to a ball game early, even though it's late. 3-2 count, second time around, and Hunter will take it, and he walks a run in. So Sano will score after he drew the leadoff walk. Hunter's going to pick up the RBI on the bases loaded walk, and the Twins have a 1-0 lead. And they're still loaded, and there's still nobody out. Wieters went out to have a word with Gonzalez. So you let a guy who was 1 for 26 get an RBI and a free pass.
Right.
He didn't let him, but that's what he did. For Hunter, RBI number 61 on the year. Here's Kurt Suzuki. Suzuki doing the catching, 3-game hit streak. He's got a 2 for 3 off Gonzalez in the only times that he's faced him. Infield double play depth again. That's going to be a base hit into left field. Plouffe will score. Rosario will score. Rudia gets it into third base, and Suzuki's got 2 RBIs on a single, and the Twins have a 3-0 lead. And Dave Wallace is on his way to the mound.
Advantage catcher right there. Suzuki realizing Gonzalez having a problem with the fastball command. He'd probably throw a slider or breaking ball up there for his pitcher. And first pitch, jumping on a curveball, hammering it through the infield, out in the outfield, and a couple runs score for Suzuki.
So the Twins get off to a big offensive start in this ball game against Gonzalez. Suzuki gets RBIs 37 and 38. Dave Wallace has a quick set to with Gonzalez, and that will bring Escobar, the number 9 hitter, up. Eduardo Escobar 1 for 5. Lifetime off Gonzalez. Runners on at first and second. Machado will play the bunt at third, just off the cut of the grass. He does square and takes the pitch inside for a ball. Now the assumption here, Escobar is going to try and move the runners up both into scoring position if he can.
Well, when you play against the Minnesota Twins, and it's been this way for 30 or 40 years now, you better be prepared to handle situational baseball, because they will bunt, they will hit and run. This is something that Kelly introduced, and then Gardenhire took it over. The whole organization, they build and pride themselves on playing the game the right way.
And that's the way Molitor played, right?
Exactly.
On ball clubs that did just that.
Absolutely. Hit behind runners. Just execute. Take advantage of situations you need to. Molitor's coming in here. His team's struggling a little bit after getting swept by the Yankees, so he knows that the Orioles are a dangerous team, so he's got to put a run on any opportunity he can.
2-0 delivery on the way, and that misses. Boy, what a tough start for Miguel. Count goes to 3-0. Hunter's down at second base. Suzuki's on at first. 2 on, nobody out. 3 runs in here in the second inning. And Escobar, you got to believe, will take here. Now his delivery to him, he does. It's in there for a strike. 3-1. Bronx cheer in Baltimore goes up from the late night fans. In the series in Minnesota, the Twins were 6 for 26 with runners in scoring position against the Orioles. 6 for 26. They got a good number. They're third in the league with runners in scoring position, right behind the Orioles. Off first and second, 3-1 delivery. And Escobar will foul it back, and Gonzalez comes back on him and gets the count full at 3-2.
Now, offensively, they can do a number of things. They will put pressure on an opposing team. It's just what's let them down here since the All-Star break has been their pitching, primarily their starting pitching. They've had a couple injuries too. The closer just went down with a neck problem, and Phil Hughes, one of their starting pitchers, a back problem.
This is the third 3-2 count we've had from Gonzalez so far. Runners off first and second are not going, and Escobar goes down to first, and that will be foul. The Twins are 11th in average and 9th in runs in the American League, 10th in home runs. They are dead last in on-base percentage. They don't get a lot of walks. Their advantage has been when they get people on, as Mike said, they are able to get them around. 3-ball, 2-strike count. A lot of pitches thrown early here in this ball game for Gonzalez. Escobar, Hunter, the lead runner, not going. Foul back again. So Escobar battling here and holding the count at 3-2.
Put together some tough at bats. Miguel finally getting around the zone and getting worked here by Escobar, fouling off some nasty pitches. See the Nissan pitch track, getting ahead and then working the perimeter there, but Escobar won't let him finish him off.
Escobar, 34 games as the Twins shortstop. They've been hunting for a shortstop all year. 3-2 delivery on the way to him. Escobar again fouls it off. We will have the 9th pitch of this at bat coming up, and the 39th pitch of the ball game for Gonzalez. Miguel with the 3-2. Jones shaded a bit towards left field in the outfield, and playing fairly shallow as he always does. Escobar, 3-2 delivery again, and he lifts that one into the gap, and that is going to fall where they weren't playing him. It'll bring Hunter in. Suzuki's going to come to third and stop. It'll be an RBI double for Escobar, and that's quite an at-bat. A 9-pitch at-bat, 4 3-2 pitches, and a 4-0 lead.
Escobar doing a nice job there, and finally getting the timing down. Squares Gonzalez up. Clutch double. Continue to put the pressure on Miguel. And the slider that just stays in the middle of the plate. And he backlegs this one, driving in the gap, beating both Parr and Jones to the wall.
The Oriole bullpen will have to get up very early in this ball game. 34 RBIs on the season for Escobar. Now the infield's going to move in. Leadoff batter Buxton grounded out his first time up. He'll take the pitch, and it'll be outside for a ball. Buxton getting the chance. This will be his first appearance with the ball club since coming up a day ago. Jason Garcia is in the bullpen for the Orioles. 1-0 delivery on the way. Buxton taking, and for Miguel Gonzalez just trying to aim for a strike here and cannot find it.
Yeah, it seems like he's feeling for it a little bit, unfortunately, for Miguel, and that's been a problem. Went into a rough stretch where mechanically he's not trusting his delivery. I think he's feeling his body maybe a little bit out of whack and probably thinking about that delivery instead of just letting it go, trusting what he's been doing probably his whole life, pitching a baseball.
Got that one in there for his strike. Buxton, 3 levels this season. When you put them all together, he's hit 292. 7 home runs, 45 RBIs. AAA, AA Major League. 2-1 delivery, one after one, and we'll foul it back. And the count is at 2-2. Orioles midway now, infield positioning. If they get a chance at the plate, Suzuki, their lead runner at third base, they go for it. Escobar with the RBI on at second. Gonzalez 2-2 delivery, and that'll be inside. And another 3-2 count, the fourth we've had in the game for Gonzalez.
Yeah, his two-seam fastball might be too good. A lot of movement there, just running off the inside part of the plate. Having a hard time harnessing that pitch.
3-2 to Buxton. Runners off second and third. Gonzalez delivers, and a ground ball runner not going. Machado will make sure he stays, fire it over, and just get the out. Good speed. Buxton going down the line. And there's the first out of the inning.
Now Buxton flying down that line right there. I'm going to pay attention to that.
So Dozier will come up with the RBI opportunity. Only one away, and the infield will stay halfway again since they don't have a force out at any bag. For Dozier this season, .220 with runners in scoring position. Significantly less than what he has done overall. Pitch on the way by Gonzalez will be the off-speed breaking ball outside.
Dozier settled in and really become one of the better second basemen in the game, both defensively and power-wise. Came up as a shortstop for the Twins, and back when Ron Gardenhire was a manager. And I remember talking to Gardenhire, and he said thought it might be a little too much for him offensively. He was, either taking his glove to the plate or taking his bat out to the field with him. Shortstop's a very demanding position, and if you fall behind and gets in your head a little bit, it can wear you down. Well, he didn't have the success over there on the left side of the infield, so Gardenhire moves him over to second base, takes a little pressure off of him, and he's become an all-star second baseman, relaxing offensively. Last season at 23 home runs, 21 stolen bases. This year 25 homers. So very productive since moving over to the right side of the infield.
Only Josh Donaldson has scored more runs in the American League than has Dozier. 2-0 count. Wieters had a discussion with Gonzalez. Pitch on the way, and that will be in there for a strike. And the count will go to 2-1. It's a big chance here for a really monster inning. 4 runs already in. A base hit here, though, would score 2 more. Orioles grouped together in the outfield as they normally are. Don't give you much in the gaps. 2-1 delivery by Gonzalez. Dozier lifts it. He found the gap. That's a base hit. Suzuki scores. Escobar will be held. Now he goes. Second chance. He's going to be out. And got him. Oh, what was that? He stopped. He completely stopped. Coming around third base. And then Glenn, the third base umpire, a third base coach, rather, I don't know if Gene sent him or not, trying to score, and he's out.
Yeah, take a look. It's almost a balk there. That third base coach puts the right arm up, stops, and then goes with the left arm. So Escobar hesitates just enough for Urrutia to gun him down at home plate. Nice play. Good concentration there by Urrutia not to give up on that play.
Well, that's a big out. Now that's an RBI that's going to be picked up by Dozier. But out at the plate, Escobar on the throw made by Urrutia. So the Oriole outfield again rising to the occasion. Mauer is the 9th Twin to hit here in the second inning. A 5-0 ball game. Runner on at second base. Dozier will be credited with a single, then went down to second on the throw. And Mauer, 359 with runners in scoring position this year for this veteran hitter. He's up there among the top 10 in that department. Coming into the game ranked 4th. Ground ball to second base. Jonathan Scope is over to get it. And mercifully, that is the inning. But what an inning. As all 9 come to the plate for the Twins, they've got a 5-0 lead.
September 6th, 1995, it's in Fenway Park, and they stopped the game in about the 5th or 6th inning to watch 21-31, Cal Ripken breaking Lou Gehrig's streak of consecutive games.
And here, a big second inning, 5 runs on 5 hits for the Twins, who ended up going 4 for 6 with runners in scoring position in 1 inning as they sent 9 batters to the plate. So for the youngster, Duffy finds himself with a very early lead, however, as he'll face the Orioles here in the bottom of the second inning.
Yeah, Paul Molitor hoping that will help Duffy relax a little bit.
He'll face Chris Davis. Chris will take the pitch, and it is in there for a strike. Chris had a 4 for 12 in Minnesota with a home run and that 1 RBI. Twins come in having lost 11 of their last 16 ball games. That one blooped, should be a base hit, and falls in. The Orioles get a leadoff single. Chris Davis, their first hit of the ball game.
Well, I guess the only saving grace about that monster second inning by the Minnesota Twins is the fact that it was done in the second inning. So the Orioles offense, a lot of time to chip away. No panic mode at all by this team. Got to start somehow. Nice job by Chris Davis right there. Holding the hands inside, flaring one out of the shortstop's head.
Matt Wieters back behind the plate in the ball game and brings with him a 7-game hit streak. He's 10 for 26 during the streak. He has had a home run and 2 RBIs in those 7 ball games. So Matt bumping the average up and now looking to keep this inning going and make it even bigger. 1 strike count on him. Davis going nowhere at first. Matt fouls that one off out in front of the off-speed delivery. 0-2.
Matt a little setback, tweaked his hamstring a little bit. He'll take 5 days off, but feeling much better. You see him behind the plate tonight.
Outfield a bit towards left. They give him the gap in right center. 0-2 delivery on the way. That'll miss up high and away. Talking about Duffy and the off-speed pitches that he throws. That last good start that he had against Cleveland, he threw the curveball 30 times, and 6 of his 7 strikeouts came on the curveball against the Indians. That one down the line should stay fair. Diving, can't get it. It'll go to the wall against Hunter. On his way to third base is Davis. It'll be a double, and the Orioles start an inning of their own. 2 in scoring position, nobody out.
Nice piece of hitting by Matt Wieters. There's the breaking ball you were talking about, but he doesn't bury this one. He leaves it up. But Wieters, nice job holding the hands in tight, keeping it fair. No hook at all on this ball. Taking a chance hitting out to Hunter. 9 gold gloves out there. Pretty good effort, but gets by him. The Orioles threatening to get a little closer.
That's one of those. Do you dive on a ball like that when you get a 5-0 lead in the second inning? And I'm just raising it as something to think about. That's Torrey knows. He's been there.
Yeah.
But you stop that ball, you got runners at first and second, and not second and third. And the pitch will be taken down low. Jonathan Scope. So the Orioles a chance on a base hit here, maybe to get a couple of RBIs of their own. Jonathan now up to that .301 batting average. And as we've said, keep in mind, because of the injuries, only 153 at bats for him, compared to over 400 for the other starters. That one's not deep at all. Second baseman Dozier, runner will tag. Hunter's got the better angle to make a throw, so he takes it. And there's no chance for Davis to move up, and Scope has an unproductive out. Maryland lottery contestant of the game, Rita Golden from Middle River. 500 for being selected, 500 for every Orioles home run hit tonight. Play baseball, Bucks Scratch House, win up to $50,000. Enter non-winning tickets for a chance to be the contestant of the game. Go to mdlottery.com/baseball. Steve Clevenger coming up. Steve's got a 4-game hit streak coming in. He is taking the role of the DH again in this ball game. Runners at second and third now with 1 away. Clevenger will take the breaking ball for a strike. During the streak, 8 hits in 18 at bats. Came up to the Orioles from Norfolk on the 14th, where he was having a very fine season, hitting over 300 with the Tides.
Yeah, he can swing it.
0-1, foul back.
Pure swing from the left side. He's made the team a couple years ago out of spring training. And was sent back down. Went down with the right attitude, though. And good to see him back up here. You mentioned it. Hit over 300 down there in Norfolk AAA. So had a good attitude. And here is another great opportunity for Clevenger.
0-2 delivery. Fouled off of the plate. Because we don't, only 3 games for Duffy at the major league level. If you look at his numbers at the minor league with runners in scoring position, 250 was the batting average against him. Now, how much that translates to the majors, I'll leave that one up to you. But it's just a landmark number to look at. And there's that off-speed breaking ball.
Yeah, pretty good pitch there. Hard finish at the end. Take a look at the Nissan pitch track. Just boring in on the inner third. A rotation on that curveball. Just bites down and in to Clevenger.
He's got a chance to get out of the inning after the Davis single and the Wieters double. There are 2 down. And that will bring up J.J. Hardy. Left-handers 182, right-handers 235 in his first couple of starts. There's the breaking ball again in their first strike. 2 home runs, both hit by right-handers off Duffy this year.
Well, you know, Buck Showalter was talking to AAA manager Ron Johnson because Duffy played at Rochester. The Twins AAA is. They play Norfolk.
Fastball at 91. You combine, if he can control that with that breaking ball, which is 12, 15 miles an hour less, that's a pretty good combination.
That sure is.
The problem for him is he has not been able to throw the fastball for strikes as much as he'd like. Davis and Wieters, third and second. 0-2 delivery. Outside, nice stop made. Suzuki out to get it.
Yeah, so he faced Norfolk one time this season. So Buck would get a nice feel. Ron Johnson's been in the major leagues as a coach, actually player as well. So pretty good scouting report, I'm sure you got from him, even though all minor league games are now televised, so there can be a lot of scouting done on your own. But
another good stop by Suzuki. A couple of big breakers, and that we've been told that's what when he throws a curveball, it tends to be a really looping curveball sometimes, which can be good and bad. You can get it started over the plate and end up foot outside. You're pretty good with it, but
right. Well, you got to show you can throw it for strikes, and he's had some inconsistency with that pitch. He appears that he throws it a little bit harder when he bounces it down in the dirt. Makes it look more like that slider type pitch instead of the slurvy curve.
So he'll go 3-2 and a fastball away. JJ 275 with runners in scoring position this year. Base hit will bring 2 in. 5-0 lead for the Twins here in the second inning. Urruti is the on deck batter. If Hardy can keep it going. Here's the 3-2, and he got him. There's quite an effort by the 24-year-old right-hander. The Orioles 0 for 3 with a chance to pick up an RBI. He's got a couple of strikeouts. tumbling down the AL wildcard standings, having lost 11 of their past 16. They are 2-13 over their past 15 road games. A foreboding start as they prepare to visit Baltimore for 4 games in Tampa Bay. This appeared to be a playoff team, wild card at least, at the All-Star break. Now, well, that's the question Paul Molitor is facing. They started the day 4 games off the wild card, and as we said, that's their only hope. They're 14+ out in the division race.
Well, you never know in this game, but you really hang your hat on your pitching, and they've let them down and haven't been able to really get back on any kind of roll. And with Hughes going down, I think that hurts this team quite a bit. And if they have to keep reaching down and hoping for minor leaguers to come up and save the day, as far as the starting pitching goes, might be a tough road to walk.
So the DH will start another inning off, as he did in the last one. Sano will take the pitch outside. He started it with a walk in the second inning. Gonzalez would walk 2 in the inning. They both would score. Hunter RBI, Suzuki 2 RBIs, Escobar an RBI, and Dozier an RBI in the 5-run, 5-hit second inning. 1 ball, 2 strike count. Talked about their starting pitching. At the break, their ERA was 3.86. Since the All-Star break, 5.5. An enormous jump for the starters for this Minnesota team. 2 ball, 2 strike count.
They have a lot of young talent. They love their young talent, actually. And you talked about open up some spots.
Good pitch.
Nice split finger. Good to see Miguel able to execute that pitch. At times you can't find it, but this one, great drop, 84 miles an hour. Nice job of getting ahead. There you see the split finger grip. Throws it hard like a fastball. Comes out of the hand looking like a fastball, but just late bite and drop. Big time pitch.
We'll bring up Trevor Plouffe. A single and a run scored. And Plouffe will take the pitch up high. He's found his power swing. 18 home runs, second most single season. His high was back in 2012. He had 24 home runs. Got a chance to reach that this year again. On the inside corner for a strike, and it'll go to 1-1. Plouffe now has had 3 100-hit seasons for the Twins. 3 straight. 1-1. And thought about it, stays away. And did not go around on it. 2 ball, 1 strike count. Gabe Morales has the plate in this ball game. Eric Cooper, Mark Carlson, Chris Conroy, the umpiring crew. Carlson, the crew chief. And he'll pop that one back. Wieters, just in case, and he'll have no play. Gonzalez with a 2 ball, 2 strike count, looking for a quick inning here. Recover from the last one and also try and put that pitch count down, which is already up to 60.
Like some quick outs. It's just some early soft contact.
That'll go in the air to right field. Parra. And Plouffe is retired. 2 down. On Saturday, the first 20,000 fans 15 and over get the orange and black Orioles trucker hat. Birds and these Twins play a 7:05 game. It's a unique item to add to your Birdland wardrobe. Tickets, Orioles.com or 888-848-BIRD.
10-4, good buddy.
10-4 there, Dave Dudley.
The trucker hat.
Remember all those CB radio songs that were out? Convoy. We got us a convoy. And a swing and a miss. Rosario, a base hit and a run scored. It seems like it was thousands of years ago when CBs were big.
Right?
I know. Now you talk into your watch. Unless you're managing Kansas City. Don't do that. The delivery, that'll be foul back. In case you missed that, Major League Baseball's investigating, I put that in quotes, whether or not the manager of the Kansas City Royals, Ned Yost, who is wearing one of those watches you can talk into, is using it illegally.
Oh.
The Apple Watch. Is he talking into it, relaying information or getting information? 0-2 delivery. Really reached for that one. Chops it towards first base. Davis coming over, and out of play. Yost said it's just a watch. Major League Baseball said,
let me see that watch.
Let me see that watch. Because it's against the rules. You may or may not know in Major League Baseball to be using any kind of communication devices in the course of a game other than the bullpen phone, which oftentimes doesn't work anyway. Rosario waiting on it, and a swing and a miss. How about that comeback? Gonzalez, who faced 9 in the second inning, faces 3 in the third. Twins lead it 5-0. Thirty-seven runs their previous 7. Tonight, Cleveland beat them by a score of 3-2. Nova, 5 innings, 3 runs, 6 hits, took the loss 5-5. Tomlin the win. He's 1-1. Gave up only a run on 2 hits over 7. Betances did not pitch. He has not allowed a run in 21 1/3. That is the longest current streak in the majors. And the Rays are 1-5 on a 10-game road trip. They're playing in Houston tonight. They lead tonight 1-0. Bottom of the 8th inning.
I can't believe Betances didn't pitch. Seems like he pitches every night.
Probably that's why he didn't.
In most games.
Yeah, he's in a lot of ball games. So the Orioles up as we go to the bottom half of the 3rd inning. Urrutia with that game-winning home run, of course, in the ball game last night. So great with us after the game, willing to come on and do the interview just after he crossed the plate, literally, and obviously very emotional. Family was on hand. They got the ball for him. How about that?
Yeah, that's great.
They got the ball. His first home run is a walk-off. 2-0 delivery on the way, and a little ground ball down to first base this time. Played to the bag by Mauer. Urrutia is retired and 1 away. Speaking of homers. Yeah,
the home run story since 2012. Take a look at the Twins. Runs by way of the home run, 808. And the O's, of course, 1,248. Look at the Major League ranking now. 26th for the Twins. Orioles, of course, relying on the long ball. First run scored by way of the home run since 2012. And this year, of course, the Orioles with 160 home runs. Twins 112.
Manny Machado grounded out his first time up. That pitch looks like a slider, not a curveball, and it's a strike, and it's 0-1. Manny up there in a number of the leader categories in the American League. We talked about runs and hits, and also Machado has put up a real good slugging percentage. He is 7th in slugging in the American League and 11th in average at 300. 1 ball, 1 strike delivery on the way, and a ground ball off the fist. Escobar. 2 down. Escobar had all 3 assists in the first inning. Gets another one here in the 3rd.
Yeah, they've been trying for somebody to lock in at that shortstop position. They need that strength up the middle. They've tried some younger shortstops. Escobar's been doing a pretty good job. I wouldn't be surprised if they aggressively look for a more veteran type shortstop with a track record.
And Plouffe may be a name to go the other way.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
With Sano, the youngster, up. They've got to find a place for him to play. Parra will take the pitch. It is in there for a strike. Grounded out his first time up. Parra with the 6-game hit streak. During the streak, 12 for 28 now with 3 home runs, 5 RBIs, 8 runs scored. Talk about some offensive output. Here in this homestand, he's gone 12 for 27, scoring 8 runs in the 6 games played.
Well, it brings great energy. A great defender. A couple Gold Gloves from left field and right field when he was in the National League. Puts together quality at bats. He's using the whole field, so he's been a big pickup for this team.
And there's the breaking ball, off speed foul tip. Duffy's got 3 strikeouts. He retires the side in order. 3 complete in our game delayed by rain for 2 hours 31 minutes. Book your low fare now at southwest.com and by visitannapolis.org. Find the Chesapeake experience at visitannapolis.org. Gary Thorne, Mike Bordick with you here. It's never too late for ice cream, never too early, never too late. You can start, go in the middle, and end with ice cream any given day. My kind of people. Gonzalez goes to work here. 5 runs, 5 hits for the Twins. 0-2-0 for the Orioles. Gary Thorne, Mike Bordick, and Andy is back. We're so happy celebrating his birthday today. He's been out with some medical problems. He rejoins us today on his birthday to come back to work. Welcome back. It's great to see you. Stay healthy.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Great to see Andy back with us here, part of our crew in the booth. Torrey Hunter under an RBI on a bases loaded walk that came in the 2nd inning. 2 walks, both scored in that 5-run second. And Hunter will take the pitch up high, and a 1-ball 2-strike count.
Well, Miguel, a nice job of settling in that 3rd inning. Let's kind of keep that on a roll. Do not need starting pitchers to have early exits. I'm going to start working deeper into ball games. This Orioles bullpen, even though it has stayed consistent and one of the best bullpens in the game, their innings are starting to mount.
And Hunter late on it, fouls it off. Great veteran right there. How many more to go for Hunter? The age of 40 now. 349 career home runs, 210 of them hit with the Minnesota Twins. 2-2 delivery, set up outside, pitches there, and another full count. 5 3-2 counts in the game.
When you get to be a player like Torrey Hunter, a great veteran player, a lot of times some of the younger players that come into the league forget how good he was.
Yeah.
You know, he went through a 10-year stretch where he was one of the best outfielders in the game. I mentioned 9 Gold Gloves, but multiple All-Star appearances, Silver Slugger awards, He really could do it all. His manager, of course, one of the greats of all time as well.
And got him. Hunter didn't think so. Gonzalez gets his third strikeout. Gabe Morales, the home plate umpire. He and Hunter have a quick exchange.
I just asked him, did this ball really come back and catch the corner? He said, yes, it did. Catches that inside corner. Wieters wants it down and away. It stays in. He receives it nicely, though. No glove movement. Locking it up.
Gabe Morales, historically, as a home plate umpire, noted to favor the pitchers a bit, and that's one of those cases where that may be true. That's been historically what he does. Strike in the outside corner. Suzuki, a 2 RBI base hit in the first inning. Suzuki is now 4 for 9 against the Orioles this year. Hasn't hit well in this ballpark. Lifetime 184. Add to it with a base hit up the middle. So he's 2 for 2. And a 1-out single. Let's take a look at some numbers brought to you by Jeep Inside the Numbers.
Yeah, starter comparison, excuse me, 2014, 2015, and you wonder where the problems have fallen to. Of course, 2014 they walked away with the East, 3.61 earned run average. This year up to 4.29. Getting the same run support per game, unfortunately at 3.1, but it'd be nice to see them lower that earned run average here down the stretch.
Here is Escobar. Big RBI double his first time up, and he worked it on the 3-2 count. He too questions the call, and it is 0-1. Keep in mind, Eduardo, it is 20 minutes of 11 locally. Not that that has anything to do with the strike zone. 0-1 delivery, runner at first base, pops that one up. Shallow left field. Urrutia. He'll put it away, and there are 2 down. Suzuki will go back to first base. Hasn't mattered much for Gonzalez home and road this year. He's 3-3 at home, ERA of 4.5. Away 6-5 with a 4.3 earned run average. So pretty consistent, be it here at Camden Yards or on the road.
Well, I know Miguel really had high hopes coming into this season. Last year, very solid for the Orioles, and has been since he was brought over. Last year, a 3.23 earned run average. Wanted to get up around that 200 inning mark. Had a little setback with an injury, but just some inconsistencies, I think, with his delivery. He's shown good stuff, the same stuff we've seen, the 2-seam fastball, of course that split finger, but the command issues with the fastball I think have been a key for Miguel, and a lot of that stems from inconsistencies with his delivery. At times he seems like he's feeling for it, and he loses his rhythm and tempo out there, and he just needs to keep working fast, trust his stuff, and attack the strike zone, because he has plenty of movement, drive the ball downhill, bottom of the zone, and get his outs.
Byron Buxton has grounded out twice already. It's his third at bat. We're in the 4th inning. Runner at first base, 2 down, 0-2 delivery to him. A little chopper that'll go foul. Buxton out of Georgia. He was a first round, 2nd overall pick in the 2012 draft. So a lot of expectations for him. He's only 21 years old, will not turn 22 until December. It is his 4th pro season and his first chance at the majors this year.
I remember in spring training a few years ago, and Buck Showalter actually talked about it today in his press conference when he saw Buxton.
Ground ball to third. Manny Machado. He gets the force out at second base. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left on. Our Mazda do-ups, Adam Jones, Chris Davis, Matt Wieters, with Minnesota leading it 5-0. Bob Feller, 1946. His fastball clocked by the U.S. Army at 98.6. At that point, fastest pitch ever recorded. In 1974, on the same day, Nolan Ryan, for the Guinness Book of Records, throws a pitch at 100.9 miles an hour. Officially the fastest pitch thrown in a ball game. 1953, the Browns defeated the Orioles. Orioles were an independent AAA team, 8-2. That was in an exhibition game played at Municipal Stadium, which became Memorial Stadium when they added the upper deck to it. And the very next year, of course, the Browns were the Orioles. Lullaby and good night. They've been here a long time.
Come on, Dad, we gotta stay.
Oof. Here is Adam Jones. Duffy's delivery to him went around. Adam grounded out his first time up. No walks, 3 strikeouts for Duffy. Gonzalez 2 walks and 3 strikeouts. Minnesota's won 4 consecutive ball games against the Orioles coming into this one, with the 3 W's they put up in Minnesota this year and 1 from the last time they met last season. 1 ball, 1 strike count. Ooh! He caught it! Unbelievable! Duffy caught the ball on a line drive, and I mean that ball was stung directly back at him right around the neck.
Pretty scary. Almost looked like Adam Jones just hit it right into his glove. That's how fast this happens. Glove is up high, so good spot to protect himself. Whoa, right as he's falling off towards the first base side. There you go. Man, oh man.
Suzuki smilingly gives him a quick concussion test. How many outs?
Yeah.
I mean, he was getting with him a little, but just wanted, I think, to get him back to earth. What a catch. And thank goodness he did. 1 down. Here's Chris Davis, base hit his first time up. How do you dare to throw another strike after that?
Right. Comes back hot. I mean, we've been showing numbers on base hits and home runs over 100 miles an hour off the bat of hitters. Well, he's flipping it in there 90, 92 miles an hour and coming back around 100 miles an hour. It's like a chuck and duck.
Wow. They'll put the infield shift on right now. They did not have it on before. Plouffe, the third baseman, moves over on the other side of second. It's pretty interesting. They did not have the shift on against Davis till the count went to 2 strikes. Pitch on the way and a swing and a miss, scooped up, tag put on. That's strikeout number. No, not a strikeout. What's the count? Here comes Buck Showalter. Davis didn't think it was a strikeout. Gabe Morales, I think, did. And he's going to check now with the crew chief. Mark Carlson comes in from second base and Chris Conroy from third. Usually one of the other umpires has a clicker.
Take a look. Burying the breaking ball. Third pitch.
You saw the strikeout signal by Morales. Chris Davis awaits. And that'll bring Paul Molitor out. Paul wants to know, all right, what's the call? Was it a foul ball?
Yeah, well, that's what he was signaling there. Maybe that's why Chris Davis didn't leave the area. Take a look if he gets a piece here.
No way.
Tough to tell. Yeah.
I don't think it was even close.
Like it.
Well, he stays in. Let's see if he can take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Chris Davis called foul ball. And the infield goes back to their shift. 0-2 count, 1 down. Now he's out. Tag put on just in case. So the strikeout recorded, 2 down here in the 4th inning, and another one of those off-speed breaking balls.
Yeah, tough time picking up this pitch. Now he's a slinging right-hander. I mean, He doesn't have a true delivery by any stretch of the imagination. Kind of reaches back and kind of a three-quarter arm slot, and it's a loose arm, so tough to pick up whether the ball's going to be biting down or that two-seamer that runs in to the righties and away from the lefties.
Then starts a fastball out against Wieters. Matt had a double his first time up. Matt now has an 8-game hit streak that he extended with that double. That is a season high hit streak for Wieters. And that pitch is in there. A strike may have tipped the bat, and a 1-ball 1-strike count. One and one with 2 down. Off speed, foul back over the screen. You can show your Birdland pride, Baltimore. Tag your tweets using I Back the Birds during this week's homestand for your chance to win an autographed O's prize package. And you can follow the Orioles and Masson Orioles on Instagram and Twitter. 1-ball 2-strike count, 2 away. And another one. So he's got 5 strikeouts, and as was true in his last start, it's that sweeping off-speed pitch that's proving to be a problem. He retires the side in order. That's 8 in a row. Season long about the Orioles in particular. Done so well at home and then on the road have a losing record, 25-36. If you take a look around the American League, the teams with winning records on the road are few and far between. Yankees, Royals, Rangers. You get a link there. Postseason. American League teams with losing records at home: Tigers, Indians, Rangers, Mariners, and A's. The link there, not going anywhere.
Right.
So it's the old story of you try and get above 500 at home, 10, 15 games if you can. You try and play 500 or a little bit better on the road. It's not easy to do. Brian Dozier. Dozier a base hit and an RBI, and he is grounded out. Game delayed. We had rain, 2 hours 31 minutes the delay. Ball will be popped up first base. Davis again going over. Again will there be room. He's got a lot of those. This time he can get it. Dozier's out of there.
This play right there by Davis, recording that first out. Great athlete, but on plays that are fouled over in the stands, you got to find your territory, set up, and then reach out over. Finds his spot. The long arms able to come down with that first out. Nice play there by Davis.
Into the photographer's well. Bauer coming up. He has flied out and grounded out. 4 for 15 against the Orioles this year with a home run. 1 down, nobody on, base hit. He got one he could drive. Put it right through the hole, and a 1-out single here in the 5th inning. Time for you to tweet your strongest fan photo. Use O's Couch Cam. You just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast, brought to you by T-Mobile. 7 hits off Gonzalez. Young man doing that right now. Sano's drawn a walk and scored, and he has struck out. Scope almost directly behind second base. Sano waiting on it, and way back. Arudia, and goodbye, home run. Sano's got the power, and he delivers a 2 RBI homer for a 7-0 Minnesota lead.
Well, a very dangerous young hitter. Did some damage against the Orioles in their series at Target Field. 10th home run of the season. Miguel did not need that. He started to settle in, getting into the 5th inning. After a Mauer single, this two-seamer, he pulls the hands in tight. Not a terrible pitch at all, right on the inside corner. Sano knows what to do with it.
Sano gets his 2nd home run against the Orioles this year. Garcia's up for the 2nd time. Sano now has 5 RBIs against the Orioles in 4 games. And the pitch will be taken outside. Gonzalez, 23 home runs surrendered on the season. And that one not a solo shot. 1-0 delivery will be fouled off by Plouffe. He has singled, scored, and flied out to right field. So this offense of the Minnesota Twins putting up some numbers. Crooked. 7 runs on 8 hits. They've left only 2 on base. 1-1 delivery on the way. Will miss. Not too far outside, and a 2-ball, 1-strike count. Plouffe ready, and that pitch is going to be in there for a strike. For Plouffe now, with the 4 hits and 12 at bats against the Orioles this season, he has been a very tough out. 322 lifetime against the Orioles. 2-2 delivery on the way to him. Gonzalez gets a good breaking pitch towards the outside corner and gets a strikeout.
Yes, it was. Best curve we've seen of the day from Miguel Gonzalez. Dropping off the table on the outside corner, 77 miles an hour. Nice pitch there by Miguel.
That'll bring Rosario to the plate. He has picked up a single, and he has struck out. He's been putting up some pretty good numbers on the road lately. He's had 3 multi-hit games in the last 5 road games, and a chance to do it again here with a base hit already on the board. Twins have struggled on the road. They are 21 and 37 in road games this season. Distinctly different. And they're 14 above at home. Swing and a miss, and Gonzalez has got a breaker working right now. At 92, a 1-ball, 1-strike count. 92 pitches. Garcia is still up in the bullpen. This is the 5th. 1-1 delivery on the way. And again, bearing down and in on him, 1-2.
Rosario, young hitter, just over 300 at bats, already 76 punch outs. We've seen him chase out of the zone already. 1 fastball up over his head, so you better expand here. Don't make mistakes close to the plate.
1-2 up high and away. 2-ball, 2-strike count on Rosario. 2 runs in here in the 5th on the homer by Sano. 2-2 delivery off the fist again, and foul back upstairs. Last win picked up by Miguel came on July 25 against Tampa Bay. He had losses against Detroit and Oakland, and the last 2 starts against the Angels and Oakland again were non-decision ball games. Orioles went 1-1 in those 2 games. He got him. Good pitch on the outside corner. 5 strikeouts, but the home run by Sano good for 2 more RBIs on his 10th dinger, and that extends the Minnesota lead to 7-0.
important part of development, and the Orioles minor league teams are having a lot of success this year. AAA Norfolk Tides in first place with that 72-53 record. Bowie Bay Sox in first as well. Frederick Keys are single A in second, but up over 500, 28-26 second half record. Shorebirds up over 500 as well. Aberdeen Ironbirds are in second place, right at 500, 28-28. And the Gulf Coast League Orioles in second with a 29-24 record. So nice to see a lot of winning ways.
Aberdeen Ironbirds, we thought we'd pick out a minor league team. The Orioles have in the New York Penn League. The Ironbirds, great name, named after Cal and the great Iron Man streak. And their mascot is Ferris. The name refers to ferrum, which is the Latin word for iron. See, you learn something every day.
Yeah.
Aberdeen Ironbirds. And the pitch will be taken outside. Jonathan Scope, 2-0 count. Scope, Clevenger, and Hardy due up. Jonathan flied out to right field. His first time up. 2-0 delivery by the youngster is going to be put in the air to center. Buxton waiting on it. Will put it away. And one away in the bottom of the fifth. This Saturday, help launch the 16 Orioles pet calendar and support Barks, the Baltimore Animal Rescue and Care Shelter. The Brad Brock, Zach Britton, Miguel Gonzalez, Kevin Gosman, J.J. Hardy, Matt Wieters, available from 11 to 1 at Barks at the 301 Stockholm Street location near the ballpark. An autograph session. You purchase a calendar, receive autographs, and you can park for free in Lot J. Steve Clevenger. Clevenger, a strikeout victim, his first time up. Duffy with a lot of room to work here with a 7-0 lead, and he's not walked anybody. And the pitch will just miss outside.
Well, you can see he's feeling a little bit more comfortable, more aggressive with the fastball, but kind of like you said, splitting it up. Fastball and that breaking ball almost 50-50.
Swing and a miss as he came in. One of the better located fastballs he's had here in the ball game. He went through a streak in the minors this year where he didn't allow a run for 33 2/3 innings. June 17 through July 9. And a swing and a miss. Another one he keeps down. He's got 6 strikeouts in the ball game.
Well, we've seen a couple different looks on that breaking ball. That one almost a 12-6 variety. Up and down on the outside corner. A few of them have been more like that 2-8 version where it's more the sweeping, slurving type breaking ball.
He struck out 7 in that last ball game against Cleveland. One shy of that here. Pitch will be taken for a strike by Hardy. Hardy was a strikeout victim his first time up. Duffy went to Rice University, played college ball there. 11-5, 3.06 ERA, couple of seasons, and then drafted by the Twins. That one's in there too, and Duffy ahead 0-2. Right now, pitching very confidently. Infield shifted on J.J. to pull, and the pitch is outside for ball. J.J. struggling, 4 for his last 42. Has had 1 run scored in the last 11 ball games, over which that batting average covers. 1-2 delivery on the way, and that will be foul back. Heredia waiting on deck.
And JJ had his ups and downs this year. Was injured early on, had some back problems, shoulder problem coming out of spring training. So you gave him a little bye and let him settle in. He started to loosen up about midway through the season, but then that last road trip looked like he was kind of battling some dog day injuries. Wasn't swinging in as free and easy as he was in June and the beginning of July.
Not much question that back is a constant act up.
Yeah. 2
ball, 2 strike count. And Hardy in the air to center field. Hit it good. Buxton going back. Now stops. He's so fast he almost outran the ball. Another 1-2-3 inning. That's 12 in a row retired by Duffy.
everything. Command still a little bit off. Made some mistakes, and the Twins offense made him pay. McGowan lasting 5 innings, gave up 8 hits, 7 earned runs, a couple walks, 96 pitches thrown. Through 40 pitches in the second inning, where the Twins got him for 5 runs. And now it's time for a little relief for your car too. Visit Jiffy Lube for regular oil changes and help prevent damage and wear to your engine. Jiffy Lube, drive in today. Well, Garcia coming out of the Orioles bullpen. Take a look at his pitch arsenal. Fastball 77% of the time. And since his recall here off the disabled list, he's had some nice movement on that heater. Getting it in the mid-90s. 4.58 earned run average, 9 punch-outs to 13 walks. Got to find more command there, but holding opponents down to just a 180 batting average.
And he will go to work with a strike thrown to Hunter. Hunter with the bases loaded walk and an RBI, and he has struck out. Garcia will have Suzuki and Escobar due up against him. And that pitch is going to be taken away. 1 ball, 1 strike count. Garcia, 22 years old. No birthday until November. His 6th professional season. First time with a chance in the majors. 1-1 delivery. And a good pitch going away. 1-2.
Yeah, highest he pitched was single A, so pretty impressive job to win a spot out of spring training. Rule 5 from the Red Sox. Showalter Duquette loved his arm. Set back with the arm problem.
Made his major league debut against Oakland. Coming back to the Orioles off that long rehab. After he'd pitched against Tampa Bay back in April. Here's the 2-2 delivery on the way, and that'll go to Suckett, and Jonathan Scope just tall enough. 1 away here in the 6th inning. Let's take a look at the upcoming schedule, brought to you by Mile One Automotive, offering you 20 convenient locations throughout the Baltimore area. Visit them in store or online at mile1.com.
Now 3 more against the Twins tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock on Saturday night, and then a 1:30 post time on Sunday afternoon.
Suzuki already has 2 singles and 2 RBIs. Already a real good night for the Twins catcher. That's in there for a strike. It'll be Wei and Chen, Tommy Malone, game 2. Chris Tillman, Kyle Gibson, game 3. Kevin Gausman, Mike Pelfrey in game 4. It's the lineup for the weekend. Suzuki with the 0-1. That when he tags to center, Adam Jones over, and he's got it. Suzuki's seeing it though. And there are 2 down.
Yeah, covering the baseball. Little jump there by Adam Jones.
So Garcia gets a couple of outs here in the 6th inning. Humidity was still at 95% after those storms had passed through. Escobar, a double in the 2nd inning, got thrown out at the plate by Urrutia on a start-stop at 3rd. That'll be fouled back into the screen, but a double and an RBI in that at bat, and he is flied out.
Buck Showalter, we talked about him having his hands tied with not a lot of roster or bullpen movement anyway. With everybody out of options, and of course picking up Rule 5 pick Garcia. Can't send him away because he'll have to go back to the Red Sox. So, Buck's had to kind of pick his spots and use Garcia. Want to keep him fresh, but certainly don't want to destroy his confidence. And this is his first opportunity at the major league level. So pick and choose, and Buck's been very good about that for Garcia and also the other young pitchers that have come up through the minor leagues to help the Orioles.
Here's the 2-1 delivery on the way, and that's going to be in there for a strike. Escobar backed off that one, gave up on it, and the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Garcia, just a youngster. Pretty good future in front of him, it looks like. Off the end of the bat, Manny Machado. With that solid arm, gets him. And a 1-2-3 inning. We go to the bottom half of the 6th, first to 4. The Twins on top, 7-0.
4-game set. Suzuki drives in 2 in a tough second inning for Miguel Gonzalez. Twins put up 5 in the second. And Uridia, he robs a home run. He hits a walk-off home run. And here's a look at his arm. Gunning down Escobar at the plate. Sano, the rookie, his 10th home run of the year. The Twins piling on the O's with that 7-0 lead. Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com for a free rate quote. And the youngster Tyler Duffy continuing to impress. Third major league start, roughed up by the Blue Jays in his first. Pitched very well against Cleveland, and here dealing against the O's.
Throw a lot of strikes when you got a lead that's given to you early in the ball game, and 5 of those runs came in the second inning. Henry Urrutia's got the 0 for 1 on the ground ball out. In at third base, Plouffe, and that's going to be a base hit into right field. Hunter playing deep on that line drive, no chance. Come back to get it. So the Orioles will get a leadoff single from Urrutia. On Saturday, don't miss your chance to meet the Orioles catcher Steve Clevenger. He'll sign autographs for fans at the Modell's Sporting Goods in the Perry Plaza Shopping Center, noon to 1. Saturday, noon to 1 at Modell's. That's on East Chopper Road in Parkville. Jonathan Scope was originally scheduled, and the Orioles apologized for the inconvenience. He is no longer attending, can't get there. And for details, go to Orioles Community Events at oriolesreach.com. Runner on at first base, and the breaking ball will be taken away as the Orioles turn the order over, and Manny Machado up. Manny with the 0 for 2 and a couple of ground balls. Double play depth with Plouffe over towards the line at third base. And the 1-0's in the dirt. Good stop made by Suzuki.
Duffy, a lot of self-talk here. Line drive hit back at him earlier in the game by Adam Jones. They're missing with his second pitch, falling behind 2-0. Talking himself about getting back in the zone.
Delivery on the way and a ground ball towards the hole. Nice cutoff. Plouffe, there's one. Relay is in time. So they turn the double play. And so far for Duffy, whatever is needed is happening.
Yeah. About as off balance a double play as you're going to see. Plouffe, pretty good read on this ball, but look at how he throws. A little juggle there, so off balance. And Dozier reaching out to make sure of the force at second. Throws off 1 foot to get Machado and complete that double play.
So quickly there are 2 outs, eliminating that leadoff batter. Power with the 0 for 2 in the ball game. Defense straight up against him. He'll go after the first pitch and foul it off at the plate. Orioles have been held to just 3 hits so far in the ball game, and the Twins have taken advantage of their hits with the 7 runs on 8 hits and early 4 for 6 with runners in scoring position that helped to give them that big lead. There's been a lot of games where Molitor's been able to just kind of lean on that front and watch. 0-1 pitch grounded towards second base. Dozier's there. He'll make the play over to Mauer. And another 1-2-3 inning. So Duffy is in charge. Sets the side down in order. That's 15 in a row. He's retired. By the Maryland Fire Chiefs and Maryland State Firemen's Associations. Email mdfirevolunteer@gmail.com to volunteer with your local fire rescue and EMS. And by PNC for the achiever in you. Gary Thorne and Mike Bordig back with you on a crowd that stayed on to watch the Orioles after that very long delay of 2 hours and 31 minutes before we got started in this ball game. Gonzalez out of there with 5 runs, 8 hits over 5 innings for the Orioles starter. Garcia will work his second inning as we go to the 7th. Buxton is 0 for 3 on the ground 3 times. Last time a fielder's choice and was left stranded. 7-8-0 for the Twins, 0-3-0 for the Orioles. Each team has left 2 on base. Pitch is going to miss outside, 2-0.
Well, the Twins took early leads against the Yankees as well. Ended up blowing those leads, of course, getting swept by the Yankees, but you can see why they put some runs up. 7 early runs against the Orioles. Some pretty good offensive swings here. Maybe just that sweep as the Yankees fired them up.
Yeah. Dangerous ball club, obviously, when you got the kind of offensive bats that they have. And get that one in for a strike. It was taken, and Buxton, the count goes to 3-1. A lot of games finishing. We'll catch up on some scores on the outside corner. That is in there for a strike. I hate it when you see those West Coast games in the 6th inning and you're in the 7th.
Well, you'd go home and watch them anyway.
That's true. 3-2 delivery on the way. A swung on and miss. Garcia made him go after one right there, and he gets a K.
Nice pitch. A little cut fastball, 87 miles an hour. Working away and staying away with the slider. It's on the side of the baseball. You see that slider spin. The pitch is there to come back and get Buxton.
Here is Dozier. Base hit, RBI, 1 for 3 in a ball game. Dozier will turn away on a pitch that ends up inside. One 0 count. Right field, base hit. And off the end of the bat. And Dozier's got his second hit of the ball game. He's got a 2 for 4 here in the 7th inning. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the Orioles may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Orioles. Young fans who have hung on for the long term here at Camden Yards tonight. Here's Mauer. He's got a base hit, 1 for 3. Garcia with 1 down. 9th hit of the ball game for the Twins. Dozier at first base, and the pitch will be outside for a ball.
Well, Buck would love to leave Garcia in this ball game, stretch him out a little bit, give him more exposure at the major league level, especially in this blowout game. Save the arms in the bullpen.
1-0 delivery on the way to Mauer. That'll be up high. Slipped on the follow through. You can see how that humidity inducing the perspiration out there. 2-0 count. Infield at double play depth. Davis holding the bag at first, so a pretty good hold between first and second. That's going to be in there for a strike.
That's where he's going to stay with that 2-seam fastball. He's showing some nice life with that pitch. Low to mid 90s. Driving it to the bottom of the zone and get your ground ball you need. Here you see that 3rd pitch. Quality strike.
Outfield shaded to left on Mauer. At least with a 2-1 count. That's where he goes foul with it. Fans who hung on through that long delay were invited to move down to seats lower, closer to the field. Many of them did so. Some, of course, will always remain as far away as they can get. just because they like it that way. Although I do think they cleared the upper deck. Not entirely, though. And a 2-ball, 2-strike count. Bauer takes it up high. So the count will be full. One down and one on here in the top of the 7th inning. Orioles have had only one hit since the 2nd. Urrudia's base hit in the 6th inning. He was taken out, though, on the double play. And he walked him. First walk surrendered by Garcia. Will put 2 on, 1 down here in the 7th inning.
I'm a little worried there about Mauer. He's a great hitter. Stay aggressive here.
Sano coming up. Big home run came in the 5th inning, his 10th. 2 RBI shot. Sano DHing in the ball game tonight. His 2nd home run against the Orioles this year. He's already scored twice. He walked to start that big 2nd inning and scored. Has struck out and then had the 2 RBI homer. Runners at first and second base. 4 for 6 runners in scoring position. Sano a little more in towards the kitchen, and that'll take Wieters out as Garcia's having trouble finding that strike zone.
Yeah, might be some fatigue here. He doesn't get extended very often. Wieters giving him a little bit of breather. Losing some pitches on that arm side. Can't quite catch up to the body.
Twins trying to add some runs here in the 7th inning. With one down, 2-0 pitch on the way, and that'll be fouled off outside of third base. Twins have done pretty well against the Eastern ball clubs. They're playing .500 against the East coming in. 13 and 13, including the 3 wins against the Orioles. 59 and 61 overall. 2-ball, 1-strike delivery, and that's going to be down low. Twins find themselves in the division with Kansas City, unfortunately. A ball club that has won 73 games. So that has been a real struggle trying to keep up with them, and they haven't been able to do it. 3-1 pitch on the way, ripped, foul. Everybody moved.
Pretty good bat speed. The home run he hit was on the inside corner. They're taking that 2-seamer from Garcia and just yanking it foul.
A look back and the delivery, and he got that one by him. Pretty good cut on it. Could not catch up to it. 2nd strikeout for him.
Yeah, just got a little too big. 2 strikes. Nice little slider there from Garcia. And that front hip flies open and just pulls off. It is a big aggressive cut with 2 strikes.
2 down, 2 on. Plouffe, base hit, has scored. 1 for 3 in the ball game. Dozier at second base. Mauer's on at first. And a strike. 20,109. 2109 the announced attendance here at the ballpark tonight. And a lot of them waited through the rain. 0-1. Big gap left center. Ground ball fouled off at the plate.
Well, after that Matt Wieters visit to Garcia, settled in. He's made some quality pitches here. I think he's fatiguing, driving the ball down in the bottom of the zone. 22 pitches thrown by Garcia in this inning.
0-2 count. Looking to get the inning done right here. And just missed with it up high. So Plouffe gets a ball, 2-strike count with 2 down.
Take a look at this fastball. Good movement, 95 miles an hour. Gone either way.
Close pitch, upper part of the strike zone. Here's the 1-2 delivery on the way, and that's way outside Wieters. Fortunately for Garcia, has long arms.
Yeah, an impressive play right there. Quick reactions.
2 ball, 2 strike count. The Orioles have not had anybody up in the bullpen but Garcia in this ball game. And the 2-2.
Plouffe, man, that had to hit me. Didn't that hit me? A little breaking ball here from Garcia. Just loses an arm side, and it's just enough break to stay off Plouffe's jersey.
Runners will go. 3-2 down. And he rips it towards the corner. And it's going to get by Urrutia and go all the way to the wall. Dozier is going to come around to score. He'll be followed in by Mauer. A double and 2 RBIs for Plouffe. And a 9-0 Minnesota lead. And Dave Wallace will trot out to the mound.
Plouffe, a nice piece of hitting right there. Certainly has to settle Garcia down a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if he's telling him, hey, Buck wants you to finish this out. Better get it going. Get back into the zone. Quality pitches. Keep it down. Take a look at the breaking ball. 3-2 breaking ball staying in the middle of the plate. Plouffe stays on, and Urrutia, not the best route we've seen him take. Over boogieing in. Ball gets by him to the wall. Both runs score.
So Plouffe, 2 RBIs, 68 for Plouffe on the season. Trevor Plouffe on at second base. There are 2 down. It was a big 2-out double right there with the runners going, easily scoring both of them. Eddie Rosario, a base hit, a run scored, has struck out twice since. It's 9 runs on 10 hits in the ball game, and that's going to be another base hit. Urrutia, they'll hold the runner at third. Urrutia was shallow. He'll hit the cutoff man. Rosario's 2 for 4 in the ball game. First and third, 2 down, 11 hits for the Twins.
They're making it tough on Buck. Making it tough on Buck's pitchers. Gonzalez and Garcia now getting hit around a little bit. TJ McFarland starting to get loose out in the Orioles pen.
Oh, with a couple outs, a double and a single. Here is Hunter. Bases loaded, walk, second inning, is struck out, lined out. First and third, 2 down. Hunter will take it up high for a ball. Garcia retired the side in order in the 6th inning, but runs into trouble here in the 7th. And that pitch is going to miss inside. This is one of those opportunities for Garcia. No matter what the score, he comes in and equates himself well, gets out, works through 2-3 innings. That's a real plus for him.
Oh, absolutely.
And he hasn't done it. 2-0 delivery on the way, and a ground ball toward short. J.J. Hardy will go to second and got the out. Jonathan Scope had a stretch on a throw that was high, but hangs on to it. So a couple of runs in on 3 hits. No errors. 2 are left on base. 7th inning stretch time. Our Honda do-ups: Jones, Davis, and Wieters. playoffs, even to have a chance for the ring. Waiting to do that on our Major League Baseball page, waiting it out. Right now, the players with the most number of games played without a postseason appearance. Rios with Kansas City. He's going to go to the postseason. How deep, who knows? And Bautista and Encarnacion, both with Toronto. They've got a real good chance of going. Those are the number of the games they have played, updated today as they wait an opportunity.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they're going to be catching Ernie Banks, who make it to the postseason in his 19 seasons with the Cubs. So, of course, the Orioles have something to say about that with the Blue Jays. But these guys have been around a while and not getting a chance to play in the postseason.
Happens, and players have been moved, traded, as those players have been. And for Rios, a good move to Kansas City gives him an opportunity to get there.
Yeah, it sure does.
Here is Adam Jones, and a swing and a ground ball foul off the end of the bat. Adam is grounded out, lined out on a vicious line drive back to the mound that Duffy somehow caught. And that was the last time up. Duffy has faced the minimum number of batters from the third inning on. Has given up only one hit since then. 0-2 delivery. And another one right there. So Adam Jones here in the seventh inning picks up a single. Orioles get their fourth hit of the ball game. Maryland Live Casino inside the numbers as Chris Davis comes up.
We'll take a look at highest OPS in August since 1954. Gentleman Jen Gentile leading the way with a 1.324. But there's Chris Davis, 2015 1.231 on base plus slugging percentage in the month of August. Pretty impressive stuff.
Here is Chris Davis. A base hit and a strikeout. That's how effective Duffy has been. Seventh inning, and the Orioles going to their third at bats here. But Chris this year, he has had 5 hits, 14 at bats against the Twins. Lone RBI against them, coming on a home run he had in Minnesota. Adam Jones on at first, not going to hold him. Mauer plays behind, and that one into the kitchen. Will miss inside. Count goes 2-0. An efficient 73 pitches.
Yeah, Duffy has been impressive. Davis looking to get into double digits this month already with home runs. Has 9 homers.
Shift put on. Plouffe again, third baseman, moves over on the other side of second. 2-0 delivery on Davis. Ball fouled off the other way. Tampa Bay can only win when they don't let the other team score. And tonight they didn't. A 1-0 win over Houston tonight. Archer, a complete game, 1 hit, shutout with 11 strikeouts for Chris Archer.
Wow. How many strikeouts Archer have now? About 300. Has been
check our handy dandy sheet
all year long.
That will be fouled off by Davis. Tampa Bay just hanging in, looking for a wild card spot, but it has really been tough here since the All-Star break. They just can't score any runs.
Right. Well, they've had that problem, it seems, all year long.
Yep. They have to rely on their pitchers to completely shut down opponents. 2 ball, 2 strike count. Nobody out. And a base hit into right field. Jones will go to second base. Will get in there ahead of the throw by Hunter and points out to Torrey Hunter, don't try and get me there on a forced play at second base. 2 on, nobody out.
Adam Jones freezing and actually taking a step back on that line drive, because when Dozier leaped, he was heading towards first base. If he comes down with it, might have a shot. The line drive gets out to Hunter, and he tries to get him at second base. See Jones freeze, and then he's off and running. Torrey Hunter acting like a shortstop from right field, and Jones going, what are you doing, man? Come on.
So Adam gets in against Hunter. Now here's Matt Wieters. Ground ball towards second base. Dozier, Escobar, 2. That'll move Jones over to third, but there are 2 down here in the 7th. For every Orioles walk, Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield, $50 to the March of Dimes. 228 walks, $14,400. Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield encourages each of us to take that first step towards a healthier and more active lifestyle. Two away, runner at third. Jonathan Scope. Orioles trying to get rid of that goose egg in the run department. Scope, did he go? Nope. On a ball that bounced off the plate. Jonathan is flying out twice to right and center.
Jonathan, the solid numbers with runners in scoring position at 273.
1-0 count, 2 down. Duffy's delivery on the way. That's a strike. The longest outing Duffy has had this season at any level came in the minors. He worked 8 innings back in June in a minor league game. 8 innings, no runs, 6 hits. In his major league starts, 2 against Toronto, 6 against Cleveland. Slow roller. Plouffe. He got it. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, and 1 left on base. 7 complete. 9-0 Twins. Against Tommy Malone, game 2 of 4. Our coverage on MASN 630 O's Extra, presented by Southwest. Game coverage at 7. All the access you need right here on MASN.
We'll take a look at tomorrow's starters. Tommy Malone having a very solid year. 6 wins with a 3.65 earned run average. One of the winning pitchers back when the Orioles played the Twins at Target Field in early July, and Wei-Yin Chen. Exceptional year, 118 punch-outs. See T.J. McFarland now out of the Orioles pen. Fastball, the 2-seam fastball, loves it at the bottom of the zone 75% of the time. Nice little breaking ball and a changeup to go along with it. 2.25 earned run average, 16 punch-outs for McFarland. Opponent's hitting .306. He is a ground ball pitcher, though. 62% of his outs on the ground with that good 2-seamer.
Top half of the 8th inning. 9-11-0 for the Twins, 0-5-0 for the Orioles. Suzuki 2 singles, 2 RBIs, and he has flied out. Pitch on the way for a strike. Buck Showalter moving people around. Paredes comes in the game. Machado out. Flaherty at short. Hardy out. Joseph goes to first. Caleb Joseph. Davis out. And Reimold's in center. Jones out. So with the day quickly turning towards midnight and another game to come, Buck Showalter in this blowout deciding to give some of the starters a rest. Strike on the outside corner. And Suzuki, and 0-2 count. Suzuki against the left-handers, hitting .235. Almost exactly the same number he has against right-handers. 0-2 delivery on the way, and he'll add to that. Uridia going over to get it. Suzuki will make a turn and stay. He's got a leadoff single here in the 8th inning. On Sunday, come out and watch the birds while celebrating the other animals in your life. The first 20,000 fans 15 and over are going to get that Orioles pet leash when the Orioles take on the Twins. 1:35 game. Four-legged friends can show their birdland colors too. You can get tickets at Orioles.com or 888-848-BIRD.
And JJ out of the ball game. We're talking some things over, though. Nice to see them staying out here supporting the team.
Escobar doubled, 1 for 3 in the game, and will take the pitch for a strike.
And Buck Showalter finally deciding to slide Caleb Joseph in over at first base, and you could see Caleb over there. Very versatile player, nice athlete. Was making his mark as a major league catcher, but he didn't take ground balls at first base when he was spending some time in Bowie. He gets some work with the infielders. Moves around pretty well.
1 ball, 1 strike delivery is fouled away. By the way, the answer to your question on Chris Archer.
205 strikeouts.
11 tonight, 205 in the year.
Wow.
Archer with the 1-hit shutout tonight. 1 ball, 2 strike count on Escobar. Runner off first base, slow roller. Fair, it's a base hit. It's fair. Another one that stayed up on top of the grass, and Escobar's got the infield single, second infield single the Twins have picked up in the ball game tonight, and he's got his second hit, 2 for 4.
TJ not rewarded for a great pitch. Good two-seam fastball, bottoming out. And he just hits the top of it and somehow manages to keep it fair there. Frustration for TJ. Keep making the good pitches.
13 hits for the Twins. Top of the order, Buxton, 0 for 4. By the way, for Caleb Joseph, this is the first time he has played at first base in the majors. He has taken ground balls there, worked out. And Buck Showalter, as we mentioned the other night, wants to keep all 3 catchers. So to do that, you've got to have these catchers be able to play somewhere else. Wieters can do that. All of them can DH. Certainly Caleb Joseph has got a shot to play some at first base. Clevenger can play first base. Breaking ball is taken outside. Buck wants those offensive bats the catchers bring. Here's Steve Clevenger, who is DHing in the ball game tonight. So you got all 3 of the Oriole catchers involved tonight, with Wieters catching, Clevenger DHing, and Caleb Joseph at first. Look out. Runs that one over into the Oriole dugout.
That's the good late movement on that two-seam fastball. This pitch right off the end of the bat from Buxton.
1 ball, 1 strike count. McFarland. Gonzalez gave up the 7 on 8 hits over 5, the Orioles starter. That's going to be a base hit into right field. Heading to third. Suzuki will stay there, and they're loaded. So here in the 8th inning, first 3 up are on. As promised earlier in the game, selected our Data Strong fan photo of the game. Tweet your strongest fan photo to O's Couch Cam. You might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. Great shot with the bird. Bases were loaded in the 2nd inning, and Hunter got a bases loaded walk. Suzuki got a 2 RBI base hit. They're loaded again.
The Twins aren't letting up. 14 hits here in the opening game of this series.
And Dozier, already 2 singles, RBI, and a run scored. He is 2 for 4. Bases loaded and nobody out. Infield back. They'll take the 2. 255 off left-handers for Dozier, a little higher than the 239 that he came into the ball game with against righties. But he is an RBI producer, especially seemingly against the Orioles. 1 added tonight, 6 on the year in 3 games, 4 games rather, and the pitch taken for a strike.
Yeah, you catch the teams at the right time, and when an offense is swinging it like the Orioles did in Minnesota, and now here in this ball game, you wonder, wow, how has this team struggled the way they have?
1-1 delivery put up in the air. Parr's got a good arm, tagging up at third base. Suzuki, who's not particularly fast, and he's not going to go into the cutoff man. So there's 1 big out as Dozier unable to get a run in with nobody out.
Now TJ needs that ground ball.
Mauer is due up. I think Shane Robinson is going to pinch hit for Mauer. So Paul Mahler doing the same thing Buck Showalter has already done, getting some of the veterans out of there. Mauer, a good night, single, walk, scored twice, 1 for 3 in the ball game. And Shane Robinson will stand in. Robinson, 246 off left-handers. Bases loaded, 1 away. And we'll take the pitch from McFarland down low for a ball. Suzuki lead runner, Escobar at second base, and Buxton on at first. Robinson through the middle, over to get it. On the flip, not in time, and a run will score, an infield hit. Flaherty got there and cut it off, saved a run for the moment. So an infield hit and an RBI for Robinson, bringing Suzuki home and making it a 10-0 lead.
A nice play here by Ryan Flaherty. TJ almost comes down with the ball, kicks up. Look at the arm, extendo arm there. Flaherty keeping it in the infield, trying to get that force out at second base. Look at that reach. Nice play there by Flaherty. Just coming off the bench. Going in for J.J. Hardy in this blowout game.
So the bases remain loaded. Sano up. He's already had a home run, 2 RBIs, has scored twice, 2 strikeouts. And the pitch outside for a ball. Our Lexus of Towson, drive of the game.
Certainly coming from the Twins. Sano with the shot, his 10th home run. Talk about a youngster with some power. He has 150 at bats this year, 10 home runs.
1-0 delivery to him, swing and a miss. McFarland turning that one over. Our drive of the game brought to you by Lexus of Towson, area's #1 volume Lexus dealer, 5 years running. See why at lexusoftowson.com. One ball, 1 strike count. So no ground ball. Flaherty charging. There's one, and it gets away. Didn't get one. 1 run scores. Second run's going to score. Throw to the plate, not in time. And the wheels have fallen off officially. Well, Sano's ground ball mishandled and then was not followed up quickly enough by Jonathan Schoop. And aware of that, Buxton comes in.
Yeah, the chopper here to Flaherty. Nice play, but not aware of the speed. Base runner gets in there safely, and then throw kind of handcuffs Jonathan Schoop as it kicks away. And the Twins continue to pile on the runs.
So it'll be an infield hit, it looks like. It is a 12-0 ball game. 3 RBIs for Sano. And then second run comes on an error charged on Jonathan Schoop, allowing Buxton to come in to score. Runners on at first and second base, and 1 out. So another big inning for the Twins, this one coming against McFarland. Trevor Plouffe at the plate. 2 RBI double his last time up. He's gone 2 for 4. 2 RBIs and a run scored. And the pitch will be taken for a ball. Robinson with good speed on at second base. And Sano on at first. The Orioles waited 2 hours and 31 minutes for this. 1-1 delivery on the way, and the pitch will be taken outside.
Well, maybe just a little kick in the pants here. We're playing some really good baseball in this homestand. Of course, the rain delay kind of calms everybody down. And the Twins got up for this game. Well, they came out, pitches were made, mistakes were made, and they took advantage of it. Really taking this game over in the second inning when they put a 5 spot up on the board, and Tyler Duffy making just his 3rd start settled in. 24-year-old has shut down this Orioles offense that has been so productive on this homestand.
McFarland with a 2-ball 2-strike count. Orioles only one shy of the most runs surrendered this year, 13 against Toronto. There's Duffy, who's gone the distance. This has been a very long wait for him here in the 8th inning. The Twins are 10-21 since the All-Star break. They were averaging just 4 runs a game since the break. They certainly have upped that. And that pitch is going to be taken and a walk. So the bases are loaded again as McFarland surrenders the free pass. Robinson goes to third. Sano goes down to second. And Plouffe on at first. Only 4 walks issued by the 3 Oriole pitchers, but they have been costly. 2 of them came in the 2nd inning by Gonzalez, the starter, and they both scored. Another one in the 7th inning, Garcia, that run scored. And now another one here in the 8th. And Rosario will take the pitch down low for a ball. Eddie Rosario, 2 hits, 2 for 4, and 2 strikeouts. He has crossed the plate once. All of the starters for Minnesota have scored at least 1 run. 1-0 count, bases loaded. Up the middle, that's going to be a base hit into center field. Robinson will score. Play coming to the plate. Grimold, no arm to get it in, and 2 score. Sano crosses as well. So a 2 RBI base hit for Rosario. That's his 3rd hit of the ball game, and it is a 14-0 lead.
Taking it right back through the middle. Well, tip your hat to these Twins. They're not getting outside of themselves, just taking what's given. Slapping the ball all around Camden Yards tonight.
Yeah, but Joe Walter, it's one of those ball games. And they will have batted around, still only 1 away as the 9th batter comes to the plate. Herman, pinch hitting, goes after the first pitch down the line in left field. Urrutia going, but will not have the play on it.
You know, the Orioles were on the other end of a blowout against the Athletics to start this homestand off, and so they know how it feels. But Buck Showalter, you saw his eyes in there. He's looking around the field. He's seeing how his players are responding to this. You still have to be a professional. You're still representing the Orioles. You're still in a playoff hunt. You still have to play the game hard and right.
Down to first, fair ball. Steps on the bag and records the out. Runners will move up, and a little slow roller. 14-0. So Herman, the pinch hitter, retired. 2 in scoring position now with 2 down. And this will be the 10th man up in the inning. Suzuki started this out with a base hit and scored a run. Brian Madison, the bullpen.
Second time that the Twins have brought the whole order up in 1 inning.
And Suzuki will take it for a strike. RBI chance for him. He got 2 in that 2nd inning. With the bases loaded, he got a base hit. He's had 3 singles in the ball game, 3 for 4, 2 RBIs, and a run scored. And we'll foul that one away.
He has taken some good cuts in this ball game. Even his out was hard. 3 hits. And that foul ball was hard. Everything he's touching
he's
with the bat.
seeing it, isn't he? He's really been on the pitches here in this ball game. Base hit here, and he can get a couple more RBIs. McFarland wants to end it right here. Count will stay at 0-2. So the most runs surrendered by the Orioles this year here in this ball game. McFarland with the 0-2 delivery, and will be taken outside. So a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Minnesota is going to get out of their 3-game losing streak, and the Orioles will suffer just their 2nd loss on this homestand. They'll be 5-2 going into the second game of this 4-game set. 1-2 delivery by the left-hander, and he chases one outside. So that will do it in the inning, but 5 more across. We go to the bottom half of the 8th inning, a 14-0 Twins lead. One app, live baseball, up to the moment, at any moment. In-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, and more. MLB.com at bat for your smartphone or tablet. And over at first base, Herman will stay in the ballgame after pinch hitting. Mauer out. Nunez will come on to play at short. Escobar out. Or Escobar is in. He's going to second. Dozier out. Spring training game underway here. Robinson stays in and plays in right field for Hunter. And the pitch will be taken for a strike. Steve Clevenger leading it off. Clevenger has struck out a couple of times in the ball game. Duffy's gone the distance, and that's going to be a base hit. So a single infield hit for Clevenger to lead off the bottom half of the 8th inning. Good chance there because Duffy didn't field it. He would have had no play. But coming in from third, Plouffe did.
Yeah, Plouffe's made a couple nice barehanded plays in this ball game. He doesn't want anybody to take his position. He's fine defensive play. Duffy just out of the reach with a barehand quick release, but Clevenger sniffing out base hit. He's running as hard as he can to get down there. Boom. Half a step beats it.
Ryan Flaherty's going to get his first at bat. And he gets out of the offer. He's got a base hit into right field. So Ryan Flaherty going after the first pitch that he sees here in the ball game, delivers a single, and 0 for 34 ends.
Oh, hallelujah. Get that ball for Ryan Flaherty. My gosh. You know, he's been grinding on that. Good swing there.
And the Orioles get a couple on against Duffy. And here's Urrutia. Base hit. And he has grounded out. 2 on. And that's going to be a base hit into left field. Rosario up. They're loaded. So the long layoff for Duffy maybe took away some of the sharpness we've seen. Or maybe just the score. Or he's just heading to empty.
Yeah, maybe run out of gas, or Orioles finally starting to see him. Tough to pick up that sling and arm slot. 3/4. Haven't squared up many balls. Finally in trouble.
Pitch count still just at 84.
84 pitches.
Wow. Nolan Reimold will get his first at bat. Reimold taking over in center field. Bases loaded, nobody out. And there's that breaking ball again that is in there for a strike. AJ Actor in the bullpen. Reimold's not seen a lot of action lately, and overall not a lot on the year. 36 games, 91 at bats. Down to third and hit him. Oh, Clevenger in foul territory, and that's why you stay in foul territory when you're running at third. But that hurt.
Coming in hot, Steve. See the lead, foul territory, one hop down off the ankle, foot area. Here it comes. Trying to get up and out of the way and catches on the shin.
In foul territory, so not out.
Right.
0-2 delivery on the way and a breaking ball outside. 1 ball, 2 strike count on Nolan Reimold. Orioles trying to get rid of that, at least get rid of that 0 in the shutout column. And a chance to put up more than that here in this inning. 1-2.
I'd like to let the Twins think about something here. Put a little perfect number up.
So he's equaled his high in strikeouts here in his 3rd game with 7.
And that breaking ball has come up big this whole ball game. Nasty bite there. 79 miles an hour. Tight rotation. Big finish on the curve to get Reimold.
Parra has played the entire ball game in right field. Parra's got an 0 for 3. Probably the last chance he'll have to extend his hit streak. It's at 6 games at the moment. He's played a lot of games against the Twins this year in 2 uniforms. 6 for 24 and a foul tip into the mitt. 0-1 count. Gerardo Parra, big numbers with the bases loaded. 1 grand slam. Colorado beat Washington tonight 3-2. Nationals struggles continue. 0-1 delivery on the way, reached for it and will foul it back. Pittsburgh continuing their run, a 4-0 victory over San Francisco. So the Pirates, have picked the pace up again. They went through a little hollow ground there 3 weeks ago, but Pirates are started the day 5 games behind the Cardinals. Would that be a story if they caught the Cardinals? Swung on and fouled off at the plate. More likely for the Pirates is the wild card spot. They hold down that number 1 wild card spot in the National League.
I'll talk to some of the Mets players and coaches after they had just gotten done getting swept by the Pirates, and they were pretty impressed with that team and the bullpen especially.
Up the middle, off the mound, and a base hit. Clevenger will limp home. Hold the runner at third, Ryan Flaherty, and the Orioles get a run on the board. So Parra, the RBI base hit here in the 8th inning.
Need to stay hot here on this homestand.
Bases will remain loaded.
4 straight breaking balls to Parra, finally able to put one in play. Finds a hole right up the middle. Clutch base hit with the bases loaded. And the Orioles are on the board.
And Paredes will get his first at bat. Jimmy coming on to play lineup wise in Adam Jones' spot. Bases loaded and 1 out. Paredes on a check swing and a pitch up high, and he went. Chris Conroy down at third base with the call on the check swing. Duffy trying to get out of the inning, maybe give himself a chance to pitch a complete ball game. Swing and a miss on a heater at 90.
Still looking pretty fresh after 94 pitches. Paul Molitor's in there thinking about getting into that bullpen, but he loves to see the fact that starter getting deep, saving those arms out there.
0-2 delivery, and a cut on a pitch out of the strike zone will get him. So that's 8 strikeouts, and for Paredes, the month of August, 4 for 34 now. And there are 2 away.
A couple good fastballs, and then buries the breaking ball. Go to put away pitch. He's been on it in this game.
And it'll bring up Caleb Joseph, hitting in the spot Davis was in. 2 down, bases loaded. Caleb playing at first base. Pitch by Duffy. The off speed pitch is a base hit into left field. Flaherty will score. Station to station here. Caleb Joseph continues hot. He gets an RBI single. 2 in the inning. And Paul Molitor is on his way out. So we'll get the pitching change as the Orioles get to Duffy here in the 8th inning. But the 24-year-old certainly got the job done here for the Twins in this ball game, and should be picking up his second win in 3 starts made.
Seven and 2/3. They've scattered 10 hits, but only 2 earned runs. And here, just in this inning, pretty impressive pitch arsenal. Fastball, breaking ball, dominant off-speed pitch. Really set the tone with 8 punch-outs tonight. The Twins heading to the bullpen. A.J. Octa in, just recently called up on the 7th of August. Fastball 62% of the time, 88-92 with that pitch. Has a change and a breaking ball to go along with it. 5 games this season, 9 earned run average.
26-year-old out of Toledo, Ohio. Bases loaded, 2 down. And the pitch taken for a strike by Matt Wieters. Matt has doubled, struck out, hit into a double play. 8th batter for the Orioles here in the 8th inning. With 2 runs in, they've got 2 runs on 10 hits now. And the pitch is down low. A 14-2 ball game. Orioles out hit now 17-10. And Duffy will wait to see the outcome here. He's responsible for the 3 on base. 1-1 delivery. Bounces. Suzuki stopped it, and a 2-ball 1-strike count.
Well, the Twins have to feel pretty good about Tyler Duffy's last 2 starts, back-to-back wins. And help them out here down the stretch. Very unlikely they'll make it to the postseason, but certainly an opportunity to look at some of these younger players and start thinking about next year how they're going to set it up.
Pull foul. And the count goes to 2-2 here on this Friday morning. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 down, bases loaded. Ball game Minnesota took control of in the 2nd inning. 5 runs, 5 hits. Sent 9 to the plate. Got 5 more 6 hits in the 8th inning. when they sent 10 to the plate. And in between, Sano had a 2 RBI homer. Plouffe has had a 2 RBI double. Rosario a 2 RBI single. A lot of hits, a lot of runs, a lot of help up and down the lineup for Minnesota tonight. 2-2 delivery to Wieters. Off speed, fouled off.
Pretty good change-ups there from Ochter. Down at the bottom of the zone.
Made his major league debut last year. He got in 7 games. Went 1-0 with a 3.27 ERA. Pitched just 11 innings. All of the appearances, 7 of them in relief. 2-2 pitch and a slower than slower gets him. So Matt Wieters is struck out. The Orioles get a couple of runs in the inning on 5 hits, 14-2. Brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by the new movie No Escape, in theaters everywhere August 26th. Somewhat like this ball game. You all were thinking it. We go to the 9th inning. A couple of updates we haven't talked about because it's not going to matter in this game, but Twins do not have their closer available probably for this whole series. Glenn Perkins, who had trouble with his neck last season, they had to shut him down in September, is having problems with it again. He went back to Minnesota, had a cortisone injection. He's with the team now. They don't think he's going to be able to pitch this series. However, he is not on the DL. He had 28 saves and a 1.21 at the All-Star break. Since then, his ERA has gone to 8.10. And it looks like Kevin Jepson will probably be the closer as needed in this series, but that'll depend on the situation. McFarland, pitch will be taken inside here in the 9th inning. A lot of players out. Escobar's gone the distance. Couple of hits, double, single, 2 for 4, RBI, and a run scored. And he'll foul that one back.
Well, TJ would like to bounce back after that last inning. A tough inning for him. He'll stay in the zone, down in the bottom of the zone.
5 runs on 6 hits in the 8th inning against McFarland by the Twins. 2-2 delivery, hit home plate, and is foul. For a reliever, this kind of a ball game can be just a disaster for your ERA, and once it's up there, nobody goes back to look and see how it happened.
Right.
I mean, it was in a game that was already gone. McFarland comes on, and no excuses. He got touched up for some hits and RBIs, but boy, when you're pitching limited innings as relievers do, that ERA can take a big jump. even in a ball game where the runs didn't matter very much. 2-2 delivery. Got a hold of that one way back. Urrutia going back, looking up, and goodbye home run. Escobar delivers the long ball with a leadoff homer here in the 9th inning. 2 RBIs in the ball game and 3 hits. And the shortstop adds another 15-2.
Yeah, not letting up. Escobar, just his 5th home run of the season. And here the fastball, not a terrible pitch, just too much on the white part of the plate, and he reaches out and covers it.
So Escobar with a long ball, and the pitch taken for a strike. Sano homered in the 5th inning, his 10th of the year, 2 RBIs. A bit ironic that you'd have in a 15-run, 17-hit game only 2 home runs have been hit by the Twins.
You know, yesterday I was talking about this Buxton kid and how Buck had seen him a few years ago in spring training when they had a tryout right there at Ed Smith Stadium for some of the young talent. And I remember Buck Showalter coming back into the clubhouse there and actually having high praise for this guy, and Buck hoping that they could potentially have a shot of signing him because he knew he would be a big leaguer one day. Just seeing him as a 17, 18-year-old kid. The Twins ended up picking him up, and here he is just a few short years later.
And a chopper, another one hits the plate. Flaherty short hop throw, not going to get him. That'll be another infield hit. So Nunez in his first at bat. Nunez delivers a single. Boy, he was flying down. He went halfway down the right field line on that one.
Yeah, I don't know that he's feeling too good right now. I think taking all that time because something going on with his legs. Yeah, waved everybody back, said he's fine.
Sure looks like he's got a little limp coming back to the bag, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
As the good doctor says, there's a hitch in that giddy up. So a runner on, and a ground ball towards second base. Scope, Flaherty, Joseph, and got him. So a run in on a couple of hits, nobody left on base. The home run by Escobar adds to it. 15-2.
Where do we begin?
It's not a good game, Tom, for the Orioles. Minnesota Twins, 18 hits in this ball game, 15 runs on the board. The Orioles only have 2. We're getting to the bottom of the 9th. As somebody used to say, turn out the lights. The party's over.
Orioles getting ready to face the bottom half of the 9th inning against the Minnesota Twins in this first of the 4-game series. Twins headed for their 4th win without a loss against the Orioles. Let's go back upstairs for the wrap-up from Gary Thorne and Mike Bornick.
Is that Tom and Dandy Don right there? The party's over. Tom and Rick will have the recap for you as we go to the bottom of the 9th. Jonathan Scope will lead it off. 0 for 3 in the ball game. The only Oriole who did not hit in the 8th inning when the Orioles got a couple of runs on 5 hits, left the bases loaded. A lot of base runners in the ball game. The Twins having an unbelievable 10 for 17 with runners in scoring position tonight. The Orioles are 3 for 14. In the air to the seats. Now the rush for the ball.
The beauty of baseball, and here in this blowout game, the Orioles have had some big games where they could really use some of the momentum and those walk-off wins to add that confidence, and they've used that here in this homestand. In this blowout, baseball's all about forgetting about what happened yesterday and move on. Another day to prove yourself, and the Orioles really have to bounce back strong and try to finish up this homestand on a positive note before they head out on the road.
Buxton makes the play on Jonathan Scope, one away, 9th inning. Steve Clevenger up, base hit, scored. Last time up, couple of strikeouts. Down to first base. Herman will make the flip. They're covering, and there are 2 down.
Miguel, starting pitcher in this ball game, just couldn't get the rhythm, almost couldn't get out of the 2nd inning. So a nice job getting into the 5th, but not finding that groove. Thought he might bounce back. A nice start in his last outing, going 7 innings, but another short one for Miguel.
2 away, nobody on. Flaherty. Ryan getting the base hit, scored in the 8th inning. Duffy will be 2-1, the youngster. Gonzalez will go 9-9. The Twins will get their 60th win and be a game below 500. The Orioles 62-58. Pitch taken inside. Ball game delayed 2 hours 31 minutes by rain before it started. First pitch came at 9:26. And for the Twins, the wait was worthwhile. 3-0 count. Walked him on 4 straight. That's the first walk the Orioles have picked up in this game. So with 2 down, a runner on. And Urrutia will get a chance at it. Henry's had 2 hits in the ball game, 2 singles. And he has grounded out, has gone the distance in left field. Pitch will be taken inside for a ball. Urrutia joining, of course, Merv Retman, Jim Harden, Dave Cristione, and Chris Hoyles, as Orioles, who had a walk-off homer in their first career home run. Got the baseball. Had family on hand here after the game to celebrate with, along with his teammates, so it was a big night for him.
Yeah, it sure was. Been through a lot.
2-0 delivery on the way, in the air and foul.
It's kind of funny. The other day when the Mets were in town, we were talking to Keith Hernandez, and he had a talk with Ted Williams about hitting the high fastball. And Ted Williams said that's the easiest pitch to hit because you can stay so short to the baseball. And that's exactly what Urrutia did on that walk-off home run.
Yeah, Keith was real funny when we were talking to him about that. Ted Williams, all right, what's the toughest pitch they had? As only Ted could, and Keith went,
Yeah.
2 ball, 2 strike count. And that'll be away. Steve Pearce, by the way, probably will be back with the ball club today. He had a good ball game yesterday. Then he'll be assigned for rehab. I mean, give me a break. 2 walks here in the ninth inning with 2 down. 2 on, 2 down. Nolan Reimold hitting in the leadoff spot now. Be his second at bat. Strikeout victim the first time He came to the plate. Manny Machado's spot. Manny had an 0 for 3, so his 4-game hit streak concluded. And Raimo will take the pitch for a strike. Oh, 1 delivery. And foul back. Actor trying to finish it off. He gave up a couple of runs on 5 hits in the 8th inning. He came on. Octor got the strikeout to end it. Now 2 walks here in this one. He's not been charged with any runs and won't be. Herman's there, and that's the ball game. So the Twins, an impressive offensive show here in this game as they come away with a really offensive win. 15-2 is the final on 18 hits. Tomorrow, later tonight, game 2. Wei and Chen on the mound against Tommy Malone. Coverage 6:30 on MASN. O's Extra presented by Southwest. Our game coverage at 7. This has been a MASN presentation. O's Extra presented by PNC. Coming up, Tom and Rick standing by to bring it to you for Mike Bordick and all of our crew here at the Yard. Thanks for hanging with us, everybody. Twins win it 15-2 the final. Adieu.